You
This
can just
conference will
ask
now
me
be recorded.
whatever you want. So basically, the trading course content perhaps you have received already from Naveen or anyone from experts of team. So that's the details that we will cover in this course content. And it will comprise of the master data part, which will be basically the article master, the site master comprising of DC and store. Then we
Mhm.
will look into assortment listing. Then replenishment planning. It is not the car application model replenishment planning. It is a SAP retail box replenishment planning. And then we will look into the allocation management, allocation table, merchandise distribution. Then we will look into promotions and bonus wise, followed by retail pricing. And then we will look into POS outbound and then POS inbound. The POS inbound, of course, we will use a simulation without SAP car, and then we will cover the retail pricing part. So this is the overall course content. I don't know if we have received it from Naveen by now, but I think he will be sharing with you if not already shared. So this is the course content that we are going to cover. Now in today's demo session, of course, we cannot cover a lot. So I will be touch basing on certain areas. And then, of course, if you have any specific questions, if you want me to show any specific areas in SAP for retail, then of course I can show it. So do you have anything that you would like me to cover now first, or you would like me to show with the usual flow? How is
I think as you planned, we can continue starting from the beginning. If in case anything
okay?
specific, I would let you know.
Yeah, fine. So let me log in. So uh, the the master data parts, as I said, it will comprise of the article, meaning the retail article. Now, in S4, of course, we have a bit of ambiguity because the field level says material, just like the manufacturing material, which is created under MM01. Both says material, but there are differences between the two. So this is also material, and the other screen that I showed you is also material. So can be it can be a bit of confusing, but I mean uh, it's just the field level, which is the same. Uh, the retail article, which we used to call by the term article in the PS4 era, meaning in the industry specific environment where we had IS, I mean, a specific products, then we used to call it as article, but now we will call it as retail material. So let's quickly create a detailed material, and then we will see some specific topics related to that particular material. Now here we will see something called material type. In retail we are using mostly Hawa. Now for fashion, of course, we will use a different material type, which is MOD mode. And then material group is mandatory. It is a common classification of products, grouping of products based on common classification. So you probably are aware about it. Um, so it's more from reporting point of view that we need a material group, and we need to create a material group in transaction WG21. So it's a numeric, alphanumeric, whatever you want. You can create, let's say, oh, this is all. And then we can use it here. Material category, we have a lot of options here. Material category, single, generic, cell set, prepack. Now, mostly in retail, we are going to use single article unless and until it's a fashion retailer where will be using the generic material. So single material is a stock keeping unit that you see in a store shelf. So 90 to 95% of the products that you see in a shelf in a general merchandising retailer is a single article. Now there are other variations like cell set, prepack, and display. These are the structured articles, meaning a pack containing of two or more single articles. Examples are like a pack containing a particular brand of shampoo and conditioner, etc. Okay. So sell, set, pre-pack, and display are different variations of the packed items. So we'll discuss about it, of course. But for now, just wanted to give you a short, very short, explanation. Generics are specific, mostly used in the fashion retailing segment, meaning products which are existing in multiple attributes like color and sizes. So, as you said that you have experience for working in the fashion sector, so probably you are also aware of this generic variant concept. So we have one dummy article called the generic article, which is created in the foreground, and then the variant, meaning the different attribute combinations like color and sizes, each combination representing a unique article code gets created in the background. So this is a very small illustration of the material category. So initial screen, MM41, we put the org data. Org data is the same org data that is being used in any other uh, industry. So the concept of purchase or sales or distribution channel, all those things remain same. uh, Vendor we have used because we'll be filling the purchasing data, meaning in retail we can create the purchasing info record directly from the purchasing view. So this is a bit different from the manufacturing material. In MM01 you have a purchasing view, but from there you cannot create a purchase info record. And then there is a DC and store that you need to fill in here. These are part of the retail plant. Again, the term plant might be a bit confusing because plant is something that we use in manufacturing and certain other industries. But for retail, although the term plant is same, but actually it is a retail plant or a retail site. So we create the DCs and stores in this plant creation transaction, and then we use it in the article master creation. So there are two different kinds of retail plants. One is DC, another is store. We'll of course go through both. And then let's take a reference material. So we will take the reference material and then we will start creation of the article. Give me a second.
So use
Yeah,
of the
here the
reference
most,
material. Sorry.
yeah, reference,
Just yeah. Use of the reference material. Is it only for copying data, or is it for any other
yeah,
purpose?
copying data. So few important fields for now, EN code or UPC code. This is a barcode of the product. So every product and in the retail store would have a barcode assigned to the product physically itself or on the packaging of the product. So we will have to maintain the EN code of the product against the EN category. EN category is nothing but it is a object, config object, where we assign the number range, external and internal. The external number range is the one which is being used because we cannot create a EN code of our own. So we have to just maintain the same EN code as the product. So we will have an external number range assigned to this EN category, and then we will type the actual EN code of the product, something like this. And EN category is absolutely mandatory because without the EN code, a product cannot be sold, meaning there is a restriction in the uh, sell side, meaning in the POS outbound program that we'll see
Mhm.
later, that if the product is not having a EN code, you cannot generate an IDOC for that. So we have a restriction system wise for sending out the data without the EN code. So that is why it is mandatory. And also from the business process point of view, if the product is not having a EN code, uh, it cannot be scanned and hence it cannot be sold. So that is why the restriction is. So we will have to enter the EN code and maintain it appropriately. Then listing is a very unique
Rajesh,
process.
sorry, one question regarding the EAN code. Can it be generated, or is it always needs to be filled manually?
It can be generated, but generation, EN code generation is something which would be confined to only very limited uh, cases. For example, if there are loose items, loose packed items, for example, the retailer is buying fruits and vegetables or certain staples in bulk, and then they are repacking it into small denominations of 500 gram or 1 kg, then they can use their own internal EA, and then they can make use of the internal number range like this. can, but the use case will be very, very small.
No,
Yeah.
actually, whatever you showed now, was it generated or you pasted actually?
No, the one
I
that I
mean,
did now is internally generated, but I can type something as well externally. So this EN category has placeholder for both external and internal number range. Now,
mhm.
depending on the product, we will use make use of the internal capability or external capability. 99% of the time, it will be the external numbering because the EN code is something which is already there in the product. So
Mhm.
mostly the EN number will be external one, which will be used in this manner. Like let's say the product itself has a EN code of 566, whatever I have typed in. So that has to be
Mhm.
typed in. And then the case of repack products, like the ones which generally goes through subcontracting, those will be having a internal EN. So for those we can make use of the internal EN generation.
Okay.
But
No,
those will be
but
very,
one
very
thing I no, but one thing I didn't got is actually for even for the internal EAN. So how do you generate? Is it just you change the category automatically it generates, or
no, 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 no,
how
no.
it?
I will just type the EN category and press enter. That's it.
Okay.
I will press enter. That's it.
Oh, it automatically generates.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Then listing is a very unique topic in retail. So it is basically a process through which a product is linked to a particular store, meaning there's a control through which the business can decide that which products can be procured and sold at which store. For example, the business has introduced a very expensive item like iPhone. Now that particular product will only be placed into certain stores ABC, and for the rest 100 stores it should be disallowed. So how do you control it from the system point of view? So the way to control it is through listing. So the stores where the product is allowed will be listed against it, and then rest of the stores which are not listed will be automatically disallowed. For example, there are many ways of listing, by the way. The way that we see here in the listing tab is just one of the way, and it is also not used in the production environment. For production listing, we have mass programs, so we'll see that. Now, we can get an article listing through here. So there are a lot of uh, no assortments. Listing upon. I think there is some master data issue probably. Can I change this? So there are multiple DCs which the system is proposing for listing. Now, of course, I will not go by the system proposal. Now, let's say I will list it to only one DC. And similarly, we can get article listed to a store. But again, through listing view, we do not carry out the listing actually in a real-time production environment. There are many other ways to get an article listed. We go through those. But the concept of listing is, as I said, that if you want to sell an article, you have to list it, as simple as that. Meaning, if you have not listed an article to a store or DC, the restriction that you will get is number one, in the procurement side, you cannot create a purchase order. It will issue a error message saying that article is not listed, and then there will be a restriction in the sales side, meaning in the POS outbound program, which sends the IDOC to the POS system, that will also filter out the articles which are not listed. So we will be blocked into major operations in procurement and sales respectively if you have not listed an article. So that is how that particular control is being achieved. If a product is meant for use in store, meaning it needs to be sold and procured in a store, it has to be listed, as simple as that. So right now I have listed the article in this DCR101. So I will be only able to procure for this DC. So I will just save this article code, and then I will try to create a PO for this DC and another DC, and I will uh, find that for this DC the line item is accepted, and for the other DC the line item will have an error because it is not listed. So I will show it in a while. Purchasing is just basically the purchasing info record, meaning where you maintain the cost price of the product. So this is where we maintain the cost price of the product. So it creates the purchase info record in the background, meaning it updates the EINA and EIN table, which is unlike the INN 01 transaction in manufacturing, where in purchasing view you can maintain certain data but not the cost price or other parameters which are there in the purchase info record. Sales is basically the retail pricing, which is basically a markup based pricing. Now, again, for retail pricing, we have specific process, specific mass transaction, BKP5, through which we can carry out the retail pricing, which is basically like this. Let me show you a bit and the retail pricing. So you
So
have a
what
cost
was the
price and then you
transaction
have
here?
a
What was the transaction?
BKP5.
Sorry.
Yeah,
1 second. I think my problem VKP5. Okay, got it.
yeah. Uh, so it is a markup based pricing. You have a cost price and then you apply a markup on top of the cost price, and then the sales price is automatically calculated as 140. So this is a very basic way of calculation that PKP5 provides. And then when you save the data, it is going to update the standard condition type VKP0. That's for sales. So now if I see the VKP0, you will find that 140 being reflecting from today's date to end of time. Now, the same thing can be achieved from the sales view also. The markup is 40% here. Let's say 40 or 45%, whatever, and press enter, and then put it as 145. And then if this checkbox is on, it will basically save the condition record of PKP0. There are multiple fields in DC1, DC2 store, the logistics DC store, which are used in replenishment, which are used in retail pricing, and then allocation table. So I won't go into the details of it right now. POS view, the most important field in POS view is this short description of the article, which is sent down via IDOC to the store, and this is the information. This is the string character which is printed in the paper receipt, basically which the customer gets on completing the transaction at the billing machine. So this is the short description which is printed. What is the article code I created? Let me get it from So now listing, it updated this table WLK1. This is the main table for listing. And you find an entry here. So if I try to create a purchase order, or two DCs, one is the one where we listed and then some other DC where it is not listed, I will get an error for the, this is the standard. Let me extend it.
So, just one question actually, whether this recording will be available for once again for rechecking or relooking into it.
And see, recording of the demo probably will not be available, but if you take the session, then of course the recordings will be available.
No, I didn't get you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean the regular, I mean sessions that we will have on the course content that will be available.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, that will be available. That will be shared definitely. Yeah. So, oh, it is still getting this. Maybe use something else. R102 is not properly set up. I want to show you the listing error. Ah, this is the error I will get. So I have listed in this DC, but not listed in the store. So if I try to create a PO for the DC and store, uh, it will issue the error message for listing for the store where it is not listed. So for any product which is not listed in the store or DC, you will get an error message like this. And then similarly in the sales side, the product will be directly filtered out if it is not listed to the store where we are trying to send the data. So this is listing, and then 65. Yeah. So we carried out the retail pricing to the sales view. This was the article, or what was the article code? One 1865. No, it didn't generate it. Okay, I was using, I think, this channel. No, still it. Anyway, for some reason it didn't generate the retail pricing, but we can very well use it the BKP5 and get it. 165. Yeah. Now let us see one example of promotion, meaning let's say the regular sales price of the product is 145, and then we are planning to sell it at a special price of, let's say, 130. So what we'll do is we will create a promotion. There is a concept of promotion type which basically has all the control parameters in the configuration. Let's put a validity period of the promotion. And then let's put the material, and the planned promotional sales price is 135. And if you go to the price planning, you will find the different prices. This is the cost price, meaning the purchase info record price is the standard P0 that we just maintained, and this is the planned promotional sales price. This is in the planned status of now. And then we will have to specify where this planned promotional sales price will be activated. So we will have to create a group of stores called a store group or plant group. One is already created, we can leverage that. So in here, there are 2 stores assigned, so we can assign as many number of stores as we want. So the planned promotional price will be eventually affected in the stores within the site. Okay. So there are a lot of things that we can do in the promotion. I'm just showing you one simple cycle of special pricing. Meaning regular sales price is 135 and the promotional sales price is 135. Okay. So the promotion got created, but as of now, the the promotion price is only existing in the promotion. It has not updated any condition records, and unless it does that, it is not going to be effectual. So we have to do a activation of the promotional sales price. In order to generate the condition record, we take A0, which is a standard condition type for promotions. So go to the price activation and then select and then click on activate and then go to the background calculation option, ignore the warning and then save.
So what was
And
the
this
transaction?
WAK5.
Can you just put the scroll down in the
Yeah.
WUK file? Thank you.
And now, yeah, welcome. So we can expect the PKA0 condition record to be created in the background the moment we did the activation. Ah, uh, right, so, yeah. So for both the stores which were there in the store group, the price, the activated promotional sales price 135 is now enabled. And let me now try to get the article listed to the article master once more. I don't know in the previous case why it didn't happen. Let me try to do that. Uh, uh, or else I will do it from a different program altogether. Let's see, it allows here. Uh, Now it is allowing. In the same way, like I did for the DCR101, now I will do it for a store R104. And now it is updated for both the store and DC. And then, first of all, we will not get that listing error in the purchase order anymore, which we were getting previously. Let's see that as well. Uh, R104, sorry. R101 and R104. These were the two we were not listed. I listed it, right? Let me I, I, ah, why earlier it was 101, right? 15. It is having a backdated listing only from 25th to 25th. So I will have to relist it. Let me list it in the mass program. Yeah, now that's fine. Yeah. So now the listing error doesn't appear for either of the items because it is listed to both the DC and store. Now, let us generate a IDOC for the article, which now has the sales price, promotional price, the EN code, all those details are there for the store. So let us generate a IDOC for the store, and we can do it in this transaction WPKMA. Put the sales or distribution channel store, the retail material, and execute, and then it creates the IDOC. So let's go to the IDOC content and see. There are a lot of information in the IDOC. So the merchandise category, the EN code, the article number, the long description of the product, the short description of the product, uh, the VKP0 value, the tax code, and then there is a second IDOC generated. So it has the VKA0 as well. VKA0 and VKP0 both are there. So all the information which are mandatory at the POS end will be there as a part of this outbound IDOC. The article code, description, store, then sales price, promotional sales price, everything will be there. So these are something that I wanted to show you in this demo session. Now, of course, I cannot cover a lot in the demo session. So that's all from my side. If you have any specific things that you want to discuss or want me to explain, I can do that.
Actually, you mentioned about the plant group in the promotions. May I know how
Yeah.
do you create this plant group?
Yeah. So you have to create a class for CL01. So let's say you create
Yeah.
something group
What is the
12.
transaction actually?
Yeah. CL01. CL01.
CL01. Okay.
The class type will be 030, and then save it, and then you have to assign sites to the site group, and you assign here as many number of stores as you want. Ah, zero one three. Sorry. I
Is it
chose
a
a
class or a
different
plant?
object. Yeah. Right. By mistake, I chose class
Yeah,
as
class. Yeah, yeah.
provided. Yeah. But yeah, so this is how we create the site group. Now this can be used in promotion or allocation, both as linkage to the site group.
Oh, good. Actually, you mentioned that there is a standard recorded session. So does it cover all the things what you're covering, or you will be covering something extra?
Standard, there is no standard recorded session. So I mean the sessions that we'll be having. Let's say uh, you agree for continuing with the say regular sessions. So those will be recorded, and then it will be sent over to you. The link of those
Oh,
recordings.
okay. 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 So that means then this will also be shared with me, right? After the session is over.
Yeah. So the regular sessions, yes. This is not a session. Today it's just a demo that is happening. This is not a
Ah,
session. So
okay, okay.
any session that happens afterwards, meaning the when the course actually begins. So those times the
Mm-hmm.
sessions will be recorded and it will be sent over.
Oh, okay, okay, I got it. So
Yeah.
both are different. So I thought, okay, it's the same. Okay,
No. Today is not a session. Today is it's just a demo. So it's a not in the course content at all. It's just a demo to showcase few things, and then if you have any queries, we can go through them. So it's not a regular session at all.
okay. Um, okay, then there are a few questions actually regarding the iDoc. The iDoc, you're trying to transfer it to some external system, or you're trying to transfer it to some car system which is connected.
No. not car. It's a we are trying to send the IDOC to the POS system. POS, as you are aware probably that it's a third party
Yeah,
system.
okay.
So we will
Maybe
use
GK
the IDOC
software or something.
and exactly GK software is the POS. I mean SAP POS. Now there are so
Mm,
many other softwares as well. So
mm,
we will send out the IDOC retail specific IDOCs from S4 retail, and then there will be a middleware which will be in between S4 and the POS system. So they will consume the IDOCs and they will generate the corresponding XML files, and then it will be sent to the store back office server, and from store back office server to the individual POS system.
no. Is it generally, I mean, do you have any idea, is it generally use this SAP integration tools or application like SAP
Yeah,
PRM?
I mean, SAP, non-SAP middleware both are equally used, and many clients use
Okay.
CPI, and then there are non-SAP tools also which are exactly capable of doing the same thing like ESB, ETL. Those are also popular.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. So, what was the transaction you used to create this IDOC actually?
Yeah, WPM.
Okay. And I think there was, one second, I'm just trying to remember what was the transaction. DR of out, do you know DR of out?
Yeah, DRF out generally we use to send out the data from S4 to car, although it can be used in
S4 to car
different
also.
other purposes as well. S4 to car for the
Correct.
data relevant for PMR and UDF. So all those data we can send from S4 to car. So there are
Hmm.
different objects of down implementation. Mhm. And this is one of the way.
Okay. Got it. And I think all these retail articles, um, basically you mentioned the single article, which is the stock keeping unit, and in case of generic and variants, it is, you know, variants are the stock keeping units. But none
Mm.
of these articles will be used for the manufacturing, right? As a manufacturing process. For manufacturing process, it's
No,
always MM01.
manufacturing. No, for retail, we don't have a use case of manufacturing or MM01 at all.
It's always only just a process
Yeah,
of displaying in the shop and selling through online or shop. Mainly, I think store
yeah, yeah,
for retail.
yeah. Store, and online are equally popular, but no manufacturing in retail.
Hmm. And I think in the fashion, we were supporting even the manufacturing as well. But
Yeah,
in
so
this,
there are clients who are both into manufacturing and retailing. So that's a different,
okay,
I mean,
okay.
business.
So sometime, okay, so but you are mainly specifically covering the retail only. Okay,
Yeah,
understood.
yeah.
Okay, good. Maybe, yeah, Rajesh, if you don't mind, may I know, means your introduction as well, a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. So I am in SAP retail area for more than last 14 years. So only into SAP retail and part of fashion as well.
I mean, you're working with SAP or you're just
No, no, no,
externally
not SAP.
working?
I have never worked in SAP. I have
Okay.
never worked in SAP.
So you work more like a consultant or a contract person, or you're working
Yeah,
with some
consultant.
company?
Yeah,
Consultant.
company. Yeah,
Got it. Okay. But thanks a lot. I think as of now,
yeah.
yeah, I don't have any further question. Maybe so one question, Rajesh. So typically, means we do follow that. Okay, once we start the session, at least for 2 days, we continue continuously without giving a break. So now the question is, I think it is only for planned for weekdays such sessions, or can it also be done for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, both weekends and weekdays are possible. It depends.
Mhm.
You can touch base with Naveen or anyone from uh, experts of team, and they can better tell you about the time.
Yeah, okay. Now, I was just thinking if possible tomorrow we can also connect for even for 15, 20 minutes or half an hour if it is okay with you. I
Okay,
can
let's
speak to
let's see
Naveen
if
as
that
well.
is possible. Yeah, yeah. Please speak to Navika. Please speak.
Okay, good. Good then. I think that's it. Just thanks a lot for the session.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, bye.
See you. Bye bye.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
we'll start with master data or any other topics that you want me to start with. You can let me know.
It's fine. I think you can cover. Maybe I think. Uh, Rajesh, I just wanted to ask you one question. Actually, so you said this
Yeah,
is a demo, and later there will be some regular sessions
yeah,
which will happen.
yeah. This is
So
the
this,
past regular session. This is the past regular session. If I've already signed up for the course, I don't know, but I was told that you have signed up for the course. If that is the case, then today is the past regular session.
today is the
Past regular session.
first regular session. Okay. So then I think
Yeah.
however you plan as a what to say how you
Okay.
want to take it as a process, or then you can continue on the same way.
Yeah, yeah, I usually do that, but since I mean you have a good amount of specific background, so you might have something. I mean, in your mind that I want to see this process first, and then probably something else. So that's why I asked you that question. That is the reason.
No, I think for now, I think it's fine. Maybe if I have any specific question, I will let you know because I don't want to, I would
Mhm.
say, go out of the track. Okay, so
Okay, fine. So we'll start with the article. So article master screen is like this. Material type in retail we use Java. 99% of the times it will be Java or a Z version of it. This basically controls the number range. And then material group is the common classification of products having the similar attributes. So products like your any products, any product line that you can imagine in retailing, like your skincare, hair care. There are so many of them. You can easily attribute them under one common entity. So it totally depends on the outlook of the retailer, the retail business, that what could be our merchandise categories and then how they want to define it. So that's a business decision altogether. And then based on whatever business decision it comes up, we will have to create the merchandise categories or material groups accordingly in this transaction. And this is where we'll create it.
Rajesh, just one question.
Yeah,
Last time you mentioned that okay, these videos will also be available online if I have to
yes,
relook into it. So
yeah.
if I understand
So it
correctly,
is being
whatever you are
recorded.
teaching, okay, got it. So then I can
Yeah, the
access it later.
recording. Yeah, the recording button is on. If you can see it, right? I can see it. The recording button is
Yeah,
on.
I
Recording
can
is
see
in.
it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
just want to confirm this will also be available for me to go through
yeah,
it
yeah.
later.
It will. It will be. It will be definitely. Otherwise, there is no point in recording, right? If it is not made available to you.
No, sometimes we record it internally for internal purpose. That's why I wanted to make it clear. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. It is not
Okay.
for internal. It is for you people only. So that is the
Okay.
reason it is
Okay.
being recorded. Yeah.
Great. Thank
So
you.
the material group will be created first prior to the creation of the product, and then it will be used for the purpose of article master creation. Now, the number of material groups will of course vary from one retail organization to another. It will be a business decision altogether, and it depends on the product line of the retailer. And if a retailer is having a very diversified product lines, then of course the number of material groups are going to be more. So uh, whatever be the case, from the point of article master maintenance, material group is mandatory and we need to use something here. Single
Here,
article,
one question I have.
yeah.
Actually, material group, if we go to MM01, there also do we call material group or is it representing something else?
MM01 doesn't have a material group as such in the initial screen as a mandatory key. It doesn't have.
Okay.
But in the basic data, there is a merchandise category or material group. It does the same
Okay.
thing, but in manufacturing, it doesn't have that much of significance as that is there in retail, because in manufacturing the number of products that are there is much less than that of retail. So that is why I mean manufacturing industry can very well live without the material group. But in retail, there are so many number of live products that the moment business wants to do a very detailed reporting, only having article code as a filter criteria or selection criteria, it becomes very difficult for them. So one way or the other, they need a criteria for summarizing the data, and that is what material group provides.
I think it's a wonderful explanation. I think it's a very important point. And second thing is also the material group is used also if it is a common material. For example, I'm talking about milk products. So all these milk products has a common set of uh, what do you say values. For example, probably some settings and some common configuration. So which can be configured with this material group, right? Then when you're creating an article, those information from the material group, which is called as a reference article, I hope. So that information will be copied from that material group to this article which I'm creating. It also simplifies the data creation of the article, right? That is another reason why we create.
No. Material group doesn't have anything from the system point of view. I mean, it doesn't copies any particular data. Definite material does, but not the material group.
No, I think maybe I think we'll go to the material group once again later. I think there are some features with that. Maybe we can discuss that as well. Yeah, later.
Yeah, I mean, if you see the material group, it doesn't have any other data. I mean, I can go to the change mode.
Yeah,
And
this is
you
this
don't have any.
reference material, right? Now, here in the material group, you see the assignment, right? NG reference
Yeah,
material.
in assignment here, if you assign something, then it of course does, but it becomes as good as having a something directly here. So if you maintain something as here reference, then yes, it gets copied. But ultimately, the material group doesn't have any specific significance in terms of copying the data. It is a material which has basically. So either way, it is
Yeah.
coming to the material level.
Yeah, but we call this as a reference material only, as you said. I think once we assign that, the automatic thing like the data from that reference material will keeps
Yeah, it
copying
will copy.
for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there are two options. Either you use this as your reference material from the merchandise category, or you can use something in the initial script. Either
Directly
of them
there.
will
Yeah.
serve the purpose.
Okay, got it. Perfect. Good.
Then these material categories I'll be discussing. And as I said, that single material is the most common material category that you will find in the store shelves. That is a single stock of keeping unit like a bottle of Coke, Pepsi, etc. Generics are combinations of attributes, and it will be more prevalent and common for the fashion retailing. And then sales at prepack display. These are structured materials, meaning these are specialty materials which doesn't exist all the time at the shelf. Uh, these are basically packed materials, which constitutes of two or more single articles or variant articles, which is basically the generic variant, which will come to discuss at a later point of time. So
Sure.
these are the different variations of material category. Let's take a single material. And as I said yesterday when I was taking the demo, that in article master we have dependency of quite a number of processes. So it is difficult to deviate to those topics as in when I am explaining the article master. So we will come to those topics later, and I will have to revisit the article master in that way. So right now, the article
So one
master
more
or
question.
site master.
Sorry, Rajesh, one more question. Actually, in the material category, we have this group. There is one option as the
Yeah, I
last
don't
one.
know. I don't know. Group, I don't
Oh,
know. Yeah, fine. Reference material. Let's keep it here. Group material is not a trading goods, by the way. It is something related to some other particular internal SAP thing. But I don't. I mean, group material is nothing in terms of trading. You don't trade a group material. You do not
okay.
procure or sell a group material. Now,
Okay. Just going back to this material type, Rajesh, sorry, I'm asking some questions now itself because I just thought these are some of important things I also want to understand a little better. See, material type, I totally agree. We generally use this AVA trading goods. Apart from this, see, in that list, there are so many other things. Do retail customers also use any other things other than the AVA?
The other one that can be used is MOD mode if
That
your
is for the fashion, right?
retailing is into fashion. Yeah, Hawaiian
Yeah,
mode.
yeah.
This is what I have seen to be used, and then I mean, if you are using core fashion, then there is something else which is used, which is HM additional. This is used in some specific processes like value-added services in fashion, not in
Uh,
retail actually. And
mm.
then there is another one which is used, which is for fruits and vegetables in retail for IP perishables. So this is
No.
sometimes also used in retail, uh, and this has a specific, utility in one of the processes called vendor mixed price in retail pricing. Okay, so these are
Okay.
the different other possibilities if at all those are being used.
No. Okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay, but
Okay.
the
Thank you.
most common one is Hava in retail.
Mhm.
Okay, so EN category, let's go to the EN category definition. As I said yesterday, that EN category is something which is a placeholder for the number range, external or internal.
Oh, okay.
So the external one is something which has a very, no, this is the, what is the number range? 01, I think. Yeah, this is the, this is the external one. So as you can
Mhm.
see, it will always be defined from a very low number to a very high number. Okay. So, I mean, the current EN nomenclature varies a lot. Earlier, it was not like that. It was kind of 9 digit or 11 digit. But nowadays, there are so many variations that we don't know that what are the different possibilities of a EN code. Now, if we Google it, we'll of course find. But in order to accommodate any numbering, we will always have a external number defined. Number is defined from a very low number to a very high number. Okay,
Mm.
and very few products will have an internal EN generated. As I said yesterday, probably that the repacked items, the subcontracted items, which will be the loose staples, the loose fruits and vegetables, which are packed in specific weighted packages like 500 gram, 250 gram, 200 gram. So those will have an internal barcode generated, and then that will have an internal EN assigned to them, something like this, or otherwise this will be the exact barcode of the product, which is physically assigned to the product itself or the packaging of the product. So this is absolutely mandatory in retail, because if you are not having a EN code assigned to an article master, then it will not be possible to send out the data to the POS system. The IDOC generation part will fail. And this makes sense because if a product is not having an EN code, then it cannot be scanned. It cannot be scanned. And that is why
Mm.
it is made mandatory. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Listing, I mean, the same explanation that I did yesterday. Listing is a tool, a functionality through which you can control the placement of the products, the right placement of the products to the store. Meaning, uh, all products are not meant to be sold and procured for all stores. So there are high value items which will be specifically targeted for few stores, and the other stores should be disallowed to sell them and procure them. So how do you achieve the control from a system point of view? So the
Okay.
only way to achieve that control is through this assortment listing. So we will list the article to the store where we want to sell them, and then intentionally we will not list to the stores where we do not want to sell them. And it holds good for DC and store. For DC, it will be only the procurement process which applies, but listing is something which is equally restrictive in the sales and procurement both. So if we don't list an article to a store or DC, the procurement process, meaning the purchase order, will be blocked. There will be a hard error saying that article not listed, something like this. Through the listing view, we can list an article, but again, this is not something which is followed in a real-time environment. So we will always use a mass program. There are multiple mass programs for listing. The most common and popular one is WSM3. This is the popular one listing tool.
What is this
Okay,
tool?
WSM3. This is the
SM3.
yeah. So we will come to this because assortment listing is a specific topic, different topic altogether, and we'll discuss it.
Mm-hmm. And what is it? The grade and another one more field. What it denotes?
Yeah,
The
those will be covered. Those will be covered during the assortment listing. So that is why I told that it is
okay.
difficult to cover everything under master data, because master data, article master, and site master will be having impact points on so many subsequent processes that I mean, if I start explaining those, then the article master itself will continue for another 10 days. So it is not possible in that manner. So what I do is I
Got it.
provide a bit of an overview on the different, views of article master. I explain in theory that what other processes are dependent on it. And then when we take up that particular topic at a later point of time, I will revisit the article master. So when you ask about the assortment grade, that's something which is used in the listing process, assortment listing process, which is known as the merchandise category assortment grade list. So that's typically used when based on the combination of merchandise category and assortment grade relationship, we want to uh, filter out the listing criteria. So we define a listing criteria based on a combination of merchandise category, meaning material group, and assortment grade rule. And that relationship is maintained somewhere else, which is under the general assortment. There is a concept called general assortment, and then the products are assigned assortment grade, and then grade rule is a combination of assortment grade. So there is a match that happens based on a particular listing procedure, which in this case is this Z2, but we'll use some other listing procedure, and then a comparison will be done. A match will be tried to be established, and if it doesn't match, it will filter out. It will not list it. So that's a process we are going to see later. I mean, right now, if I explain in this manner, obviously it won't be much clear, but we will cover it. So overall, this listing view is used for assortment listing, and through this particular tab, you can also get an article listed, but it is not ever followed in a real-time production environment, because in a productive environment, we always use mass listing, and also it has a provision of maintaining your assortment grade. And if you are maintaining assortment grade here, then you have to follow a particular assortment grade rule versus merchandise category based assignment process in assortment listing. So that is a very specific case in assortment listing. So we'll cover this later. Then purchasing, it's all about maintaining your purchasing data, and the most important parameter that you maintain here is the negotiated cost price with the vendor, and this is the price which will be reflecting in the purchase order. So if I maintain a price of 120 and then create a purchase order for this material and vendor combination, then it will show the purchase price of 120 reflecting in the purchase order. And then um, you can only create a purchase order if the product is listed to the particular store or DC where you are trying to raise the purchase order. Okay, and then purchasing data can be maintained at purchase org level or at specific DC or store level. 99% of the time, or rather 100% of the time, it will be at purchase org level, because depending on the store or DC, the negotiated cost price will not vary. Exceptions are always possible, but by and large, the purchasing data is always maintained at the purchasing org level, so that all the stores and DCs which are in the same purchase org inherits that price, meaning that price maintained at purchase org level becomes applicable for the DCs and stores which are belonging to the same purchase org. Now there can be exceptions where uh, a particular DC or store specific purchase info record is maintained, but that's not a very common case. We can do that if we switch the validity area and we can put a store like R105 and we can have a specific price for R105 like 125. We can also do that, but that's not a very common case in retail. We always have the purchasing price at the purchase org level. Sales, as I said, that it's again something which is uh, a process which exists as a separate topic, as a separate functional process, and that is called retail pricing. That is markup based pricing. So if I have a markup of 20%, it gets applied on the cost price of 120, and then the sales price is 144. And then if this checkbox is on, it will always save that price into the condition record of VKP0, the standard condition record VKP0. So this is something which is covered under retail pricing, and this is the base process in retail pricing. There are many other variations in retail pricing. So this is how the retail pricing screen works, meaning it has the same look and feel effect, but uh, we use it in this particular program. Basically, when you are executing the retail pricing from here, it calls the same program in the background. Now the same look and feel can be achieved through this push button, which is basically as good as this one. So you have a cost price, and then you apply a markup, and then you arrive at the final price calculated. So that's the basic principle behind retail pricing. And the moment you save it, it creates a pricing document, and it creates a retail sales price under condition record of type VKP0. DC1 store, these are having impact points in retail supply chain management, like replenishment planning, like allocation table process. Retail store as additional impact point in replenishment planning, and then retail pricing as well. So there is one important, very important field called supply source. So this supply source field uh, basically determines uh, the product will be externally procured or internally procured. Now, supply source one means the product will be always externally procured, and it is at store or DC level. So, sorry, this is logistic store. It is always at store level. Even in DC level, we have this particular field supply source. So, how a product will be procured. Now, for store, there are two possibilities. One, the product can be procured externally, meaning always from an external vendor. So, this will be holding good for the products the confectionaries, and then the fresh items, which are generally directly sent to the vendor. It doesn't come via DC. And then there can be certain FMCG products which are also routed from vendor to store. So for all such products, we will have the supply source indicator maintained as 1. And then there will be certain other products which are always getting supplied from the DC. DC will get the supply from the vendor, and then the DC will send down the products to the store. And for that, we will maintain the supply source indicator as 2, meaning the implication of supply source indicator 1 is whenever we run a automated procurement, automated supply chain management procurement process for retail, like allocation, table management, or replenishment planning. Now, for whichever product the supply source indicator is 1, there the vendor purchase order will be created, and for whichever product store combination in this queue, the supply source indicator is 2, the stock transport order will be created. Of course, there are supported configuration that has to be maintained, otherwise this will not happen. So the entire PO and SKU creation mechanism in the automated supply chain management process in retail will have impact in terms of the configuration as well as the master data. So the master data point of impact is this one, supply source indicator. So the supply source indicator 1 or 2 has to be backed up by the appropriate configuration in the respective areas in the retail supply chain management. So if and only if the master data plus the configuration is maintained appropriately to support both the internal and external replenishment, then only the PO and SKO will be created, otherwise not. So right now I am explaining you in brief the supply source indicator field implication, but this alone will not be able to determine the PO or SKO creation in the background in the supply chain management area. There will be separate configuration as well, which we will be discussing in detail during the supply chain management topics in detail. Okay, so this is something very important, so I wanted to call out explicitly, but these views, as I said, I'll be coming back later, and then not only this one, we'll be going through some of other important fields which are relevant for other functional processes. I mean, like supply chain management, promotion, and pricing. So I'll be coming back multiple times in these views. POS, this is for the POS outbound process, meaning when the data from the S4 is sent out to the POS system, like GK software is the POS system for SAP. There are non-SAP POS system as well, but the mechanism is same. From the S4 retail end, we generate the retail IDOCs, the outbound retail IDOCs, and then there will be a middleman which consumes that IDOC, and it generates a format which is compatible with the POS system, meaning most of the cases that will be XML file, but it can vary between one POS system to the other POS system. The most important field nowadays is this one. This is the short description of the product, and it is the description which is finally printed in the paper receipt that the customer receives at the end of completing the transaction. So this earlier had a limitation of 13 characters. Beyond 13 characters, I think it was not possible to get printed. But nowadays, as far as I am aware, that limitation has been increased from 13 to something like 21. Probably, I'm not 100% sure. But earlier there was a limitation of 13 characters. But again, it depended on the particular POS system, I believe. There were some important fields earlier, but which were kind of very much required from the SAP end, meaning the master data end. But as and when the POS systems has undergone evolution in terms of advancement, the dependency on the SAP S4 system has decreased considerably. For example, this discount allowed was earlier, I mean 10-15 years back, this discount allowed checkbox was very much required in many of the retail clients. So what it used to send information that for this product there will be a POS level discount applicable. So for whichever product, we used to mark this discount allowed flag on and send down to the POS system. It was interpreted that for those products, a POS level discount, meaning overwriting the regular price and putting a direct special price at the POS will be possible. So earlier that kind of restriction was expected to be coming from the S4 system. Not anymore. Nowadays, I don't see the use case of this field at all. The POS system has become self-sufficient to do that. And then there are certain authorization controls which are also enforced at the POS system, so they can handle it by themselves. So I haven't seen this to be used anymore. Price required, this was again something which was earlier required very much in specific products, and I will try to give an example of how and when, where this was applicable. So let's take the loose fruits and vegetables and loose staple items. So earlier what used to happen is the product like loose fruits and vegetables, loose staples, those will be kept in a heap in a particular section of the store. The customer can buy any denomination. So a customer buys, let's say, 2 apples, and it is weighing around say 375 grams or 275 grams, whereas the price of the apple is maintained in kilos. 1 kilo equal to, let's say, 250 rupees. So earlier there was no provision of a straightforward conversion between the price from kilo to a particular gram. It was not possible earlier technically, and I was talking about 10 years back. So what used to happen is the customer has to pick the 2 apples, and then there was a separate queue where those apples were measured, and then a particular software used to calculate the price, and according to that price, a barcode used to be printed, and then it was affixed on that apple. And then you go to the actual billing machine, and then it was scanned, and you were supposed to pay there. Okay, so the POS system in certain cases would get a pop-up saying that calculate the price manually, and this price required field was on, and then they used to do the conversion manually in the calculator. There was a pop-up of a calculation which used to show up. Okay, so that was the case earlier. Nowadays, all those things are mostly gone. So that was a very primitive area. Now, I mean, if you go to any store which has the advanced POS system, so there will be a scanner, and then you place the product on the scanner, loose items. That would basically take care of all the things. It will weigh the product. It will print that barcode at the same POS system, and then you make the payment, and it's all done in one go. So again, this dependency is totally gone. So this is how the POS view is now used. Mostly the short description of the product, which is used. So this is a single article which we created today. No, this is not the code, I believe. 88 or 87. Yeah, this is the one that got created. Yeah. So any questions as of now?
No, Rajesh, I think it's fine.
Yeah, fine. So I will stop here, and then we will again meet on 9:30 a.m. on Monday. Okay, and we'll
Yeah,
continue our
perfect.
discussion. Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Rajesh. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.